traffic on your way, and what's news around the world today.
Some wisdom skills along the way.
Oh, and a song to hum along with and sway.
Get your perfect entertaining start to the day.
At 9 a.m. every weekday morning with
Mahima's
Good Morning Bay.
Hi, this is Vidya Balanan, and you're listening to Radio The Hotties, where the entertainment keeps getting hotter.
Good morning, Bay. आप सभी लोग हमारी तरफ से एक प्यार भरा नमस्ते,
Namaskar.
वनकम,
Namaskara.
खुशामदीद,
Assalamualaikum.
सत श्री अकाल,
మీకు అందరికీ వందనములు.
जय स्वामी नारायण,
जय श्री कृष्ण.
जय जिनेंद्र,
हमारे स्माइली भाई बंधुओं को बोल दे याली मदद.
मौला अली मदद बोलते हुए सारे फीजी बंदों को बोलकर ईसा बोला बरजान हम आ गए हैं आपके प्यारे महिमा के द्वारे मैं से फालतू बाबा.
And of course, myself, Faltu Rani, लेकर आपके लिए एक और drive time that's gonna make it totally exciting and totally mastani bandajane.
That's right, Barajan. Let's quickly go take a look at what's happening on the roads for us on our COVID shelter in place day number 126, Barajan. 126 days of sheltering in place. Ho gaya, Barajan. Few more days to go. Just hang in there. We hope to overcome this situation anyways. Okay, so here you go. This is your Raste ka haal. Ekdam total saste mein.
It's time for the Bandu Traffic Update. Call us from wherever you are at 408-912-2479.
That's right, Barajan. 408-912-2479. Wherever you are, give us a call and share with us what's happening on the roads. Well, road ka haal kya bata, Barajan? In fact, it's pretty much the same shelter in place. I think this is going to be the new normal for us. The freeways are kind of looking empty. That's nice. Schools actually are still closed. As you know, they are contemplating on how they're going to be opening up and everything. Uske baare mein aur jankari milega aapko Barajan on our shows as we go in. But abhi ke liye, let's see an accident report on a 101 southbound entering at the Sister Cities Boulevard on South San Francisco. The on-ramp actually is affected there. Watch out for that. Apart from that, all the freeways are looking kind of free, as in open, nice, smooth traffic and everything. But again, there's construction work happening in the inlands, so watch out for that. Little bit of congestion happening at the San Francisco Embarcadero Road and everything, so we probably will be having some delays in that region, so watch out for that for sure. Apart from that, Barajan, let's see. Well, weather-wise, if you look at it, weather is pretty awesome outside right now. It's like, you know, currently it's around 77, mid-70s. Well, no, actually mid-60s actually. It might go into the upper 70s maximum. So it's going to be a cold day. Nah, not exactly a cold day, but a nice, beautiful day. It's kind of cloudy and everything. So partly sun might come out in the afternoon. So let's wait for that. That's something which you got to wait for. Yes, weather as it's changing, even the situation of the COVID virus spread also, you got to be mindful of that, Badajan. Now, we just gave you the traffic update. How about we take a quick look at what's happening with the news headlines? Faltoni, are you ready for that?
Yes, Alvaro.
And Barajan, this is the news for you guys. Headlines as to what's happening in and around the world, Barajan. So this is the news headlines which you can catch up in detail on our news blog, mediamahima.com.
Well, the $600 unemployment benefit from the federal government that many of us have been enjoying are about to end, hitting households and the economy. What we need to watch out this week for COVID legislation, there is a stimulus bill in the works, but looks like the legislators are completely on different sides of this particular bill. And there's also going to be a vaccine hearing that's going to be happening in Congress. The first human trial of the Oxford COVID-19 vaccine is showing huge promise. In West Bengal, coronavirus situation in India, West Bengal has announced a 2-day lockdown every week. Community spread has been recorded in a few areas. As schools consider reopening here, how much can kids spread the coronavirus? Are shots necessary before they come back to school? We have some health news, a report by NPR that we'll be sharing right now. And also, U.S. officials defend the Portland crackdown. What happened there? You can find out. We will talk about that. The U.S. officials are saying, we're not going to apologize. A gunman dressed as a FedEx driver killed the son, wounded the husband of a New Jersey federal judge. The judge is fine. States battle new surge in coronavirus cases. Coronavirus live updates will be shared with regard to what's going on in the different states. China has expanded amphibious forces in a challenge to the US beyond Asia. Also, the ICC in India has postponed the T20 World Cup. Decks are cleared for the Indian Premier League in light of the coronavirus situation. So more on all this coming right up.
And of course, Bajan, we're going to go to a quick Kanya Kida and come back with the news for you guys in detail. Bajan, and Arts Kanya Kida is asking you to, hang in there. We'll achieve it. We will take control of the corona situation, Bajan. We are collectively as a humanity are doing it anyways. So here you go. This is a nice song for you guys from the movie Sanju, starring Ranbir Kapoor, about the star Sanjay Dutt. A beautiful song, Bandajan, the voice of Sukhwinder Singh and Shreya Ghoshal.
घायल परिंदा है तू, दिखला दे जिंदा है तू, बाकी है तुझ में हौसला, तेरे जुनू के आगे अंबर पनाहे मांगे, कर डाले तू जो फैसला,
रूठी तकदीरें तो क्या, टूटी शमशीरें तो क्या, टूटी शमशीरों से ही हो, कर हर मैदान फतेह, कर हर मैदान फतेह, कर हर मैदान फतेह, रे बंदे हर मैदान फतेह,
कर हर मैदान फतेह, कर हर मैदान फतेह, कर हर मैदान फतेह, रे बंदे हर मैदान फतेह.
इन गर्दिशों के बादलों पे चढ़ के वक्त का गिरेबा पकड़ के पूछना है जीत का पता, जीत का पता.
इन मुट्ठियों में चांद तारे भर के, आसमां की हद से गुजर के, हो जा तू भीड़ से जुदा, भीड़ से जुदा, भीड़ से जुदा. कहने को जर्रा है तू, लोहे का छर्रा है तू, टूटी शमशीरों से ही हो.
कर हर मैदान फतेह, कर हर मैदान फतेह, कर हर मैदान फतेह, रे बंदे हर मैदान फतेह.
कर हर मैदान फतेह, कर हर मैदान फतेह, कर हर मैदान फतेह, बंदे हर मैदान फतेह, कर हर मैदान फतेह, कर हर मैदान फतेह, कर हर मैदान फतेह, बंदे हर मैदान फतेह.
And of course, Bajan, an energetic song for you guys to start the week off. And no matter what difficulties come here, Bajan, just don't worry about it. Bus, you go on, man. We have total faith in you. And so we're telling all our bandhus who actually are fighting to make sure we can fight this corona thing as well. Well, the corona situation has not even affected our health, it's affected our economy as well, Bajan, as we actually shared on our news, right? So you get more details right now, our news updates. And we share the news headlines with you guys, but we're going to go into our news in detail. But of course, if you want to catch up on whatever we share with you guys on air, please go to our news blog, mediamahima.com. Again, that's mediamahima.com. But this is the news for you guys in detail. So what's the updates on coronavirus, Fadwani?
Well, I'll come to the coronavirus, Bandhujan, but what's really going to hit a lot of Americans is the fact that tens of millions of Americans who lost their jobs because of the pandemic are now in danger of having their income slashed for the second time.
Wow.
Yeah, the supplemental unemployment benefits of $600 per week that the Congress approved 4 months ago are set to expire at the end of this week in most states, threatening to hurt strapped households and the U.S. economy as billions of dollars worth in spending suddenly comes to a halt. As Congress comes back into session this week, lawmakers will debate whether to extend the supplemental benefits, which have been a lifeline for more than 30 million people across the United States. The extra $600 from the government has obviously helped many people across the nation. So while ordinary unemployment benefits cover just a fraction of a worker's lost wages, the additional $600 per week from the federal government was designed to fully replace the average worker's missing paycheck. So hopefully there's going to be something that's going to be happening in terms of another stimulus bill that's being debated right now, Banjan. Also, a wake-up call. States battle new surge in coronavirus cases. Several U.S. states reported a new record-breaking coronavirus cases over the weekend as the nationwide death toll from COVID-19 surpassed 140,000.
Wow.
And President Trump insisted again that the virus would disappear. That's what he said.
Supreme Leader, please.
States such as Florida, California, and Kentucky were reporting record or near record numbers of new cases. And in Texas, a hospital official told NPR that funeral homes and morgues were overflowing from the bodies of COVID-19 victims. Meanwhile, in a Fox News interview aired on Sunday, the president repeated an assertion he first made in late February that COVID-19 would disappear on its own, saying that his initial prediction would prove correct. I'll be right eventually, the president said. Well, I don't know if that's a really bad imitation.
Very bad.
I'll be right eventually, the president said in an interview with Fox's Chris Wallace. I said it's going to disappear. I say it again. It's going to disappear. And I'll be right, he said. Was that better?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, asked by Wallace if such statements discredit him, Trump replied, "You know why it doesn't discredit? You know why? Because I've probably been right more than anybody else." And apparently he's going to start the coronavirus briefings very soon.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and in some news from India with regard to the coronavirus, stating that the community transmission of COVID-19 has been recorded in a few areas of West Bengal, Mamata Banerjee and her government on Monday announced a complete lockdown across the state for 2 days every week to stem the spread of the disease. The decision was taken following a high-level meeting chaired by Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee at the State Secretariat. Home Secretary Alapan Bandyopadhyay said, "There are a few places in the state where community transmission of COVID-19 has been detected. After talking to experts, doctors, and enforcement authorities and the police, we have decided to impose complete lockdown for 2 days every week in the entire state to break the chain of transmission," is what he said. Also, let's tell you, Banajan, while we're talking about so much coronavirus cases surging, an experimental coronavirus vaccine being developed by AstraZeneca and Oxford University was safe and produced an immune response in early stage clinical trials. Data showed on Monday, keeping alive the hope that it could be in use by the end of the year. The vaccine is called AZD1222. That's right, AZD1222. And has been described by the WHO's chief scientist as the leading candidate in a global race to halt a pandemic that claimed more than 600,000 lives. More than 150 possible vaccines are in various stages of development with US drug maker Pfizer and China's CanSino Biologics, which are also reporting positive responses for their candidates on Monday. So there is good news on the horizon. Now, many of you are wondering with regard to whether kids can go back to school. Do they get coronavirus? And if they get it, do they spread it? As a scientist study the burden of COVID-19 around the globe, it's pretty clear that despite some cases of serious illness, kids tend to get infected with the coronavirus less and have milder symptoms while compared to adults. And what's much less understood is the extent to which kids can spread this illness among themselves or to the adults with whom they come in close contact. A lack of testing early in the pandemic has been part of the problem, says Dr. Judy Guzman-Cottrell, an infectious disease pediatrician at Oregon Health and Science University. We need more robust epidemiological studies to evaluate how children are part of the transmission chain. She said, given the uncertainty, the decision on how to reopen schools safely is kind of tricky. She says kids don't seem to be super spreaders. Actually, it's not her. It's Dr. Aaron Carroll, another pediatrician at Indiana University School of Medicine, has said that. But since most schools around the country closed in March and the virus began to circulate more widely later, it's really an unanswered question. So people really don't know the answer. Now, schools are going to be the experiment. We're going to see a bunch of schools reopening with varying levels of control, and then we will see what happens, is what they're saying. So, if you want to catch up on this news story, Banjan, it's an NPR news report. We will share that on MediaMahima.com. U.S. Homeland Security officials said on Monday that they had no intention of pulling back in Portland, Oregon, after a federal crackdown on anti-racism protests that included the use of unmarked cars and unidentified officers in camouflage. Weeks of protests in Portland over the police brutality and systemic racism intensified as federal officers began cracking down on crowds last week, using tear gas to disperse protesters and taking some into custody without explanation. And the Department of Homeland Security sent law enforcement units to Portland to help guard U.S. government facilities after receiving intelligence about planned attacks on July 4th, the DHS officials said. The DHS is not going to back down from our responsibilities. We are not escalating. We are protecting, Chad Wolf, the acting Secretary of Homeland Security, said on Fox News. About 1,500 demonstrators gathered Sunday night outside the federal courthouse, which had been the center of protest since May 25th killing of George Floyd by the Minneapolis police. A group of 50 or so mothers dressed in yellow shirts showed up at one point, line dancing together to a drum beat. And they were chanting, "No justice, no peace, no justice, no peace." And then, I don't know how many of you have watched and heard the protest, Banjan. Aldo and myself were listening to the sounds and the recordings from that particular protest. There's gunshots, there's there were fireworks, gunshots. There's a bunch of different things that were happening, and one really wonders. And the Department of Homeland Security and Fed officials are saying that they're not going to apologize for it, even though there was peaceful protesting going on over there. The son of a U.S. District Court judge, Esther Salas, was fatally shot and her husband critically wounded when a gunman dressed as a FedEx driver entered her home near North Brunswick, New Jersey, Sunday afternoon, according to local media. More on that story you'll find on MediaMahima.com. And China is being very, very ambitious. U.S. and China are now lodged in some kind of a tug of war over missile supremacy. China launched its military buildup in the mid-1990s with a top priority: keep the United States at bay in any conflict by making the waters off the Chinese coast a death trap. Now China's People's Liberation Army is preparing to challenge American power even further. China's shipyards have launched PLA Navy's first two Type 075 amphibious assault ships, which will form the spearhead of an expeditionary force to play a role similar to that of the U.S. Marine Corps. And like the Marines, the new force will be self-contained, able to deploy solo with all its supporting weapons to fight in distant conflicts or demonstrate Chinese military power. So it's a detailed Reuters exclusive that I was reading up on, Batajan. And how is that affecting India? There is a news report about that as well, which we'll share on MediaMahima.com. And those of you who are Taco Bell lovers, let me tell you that the 7-layer burrito is going off the menu.
What?
Yes.
No!
Taco Bell is making a lot of changes. They're removing about 7 or 8 different items to make new for new ones.
What, really?
Room, yeah.
Oh my god, I never eat Taco Bell.
Yeah, I don't eat Taco Bell either. But, and of course, sad news for cricket fans, the T20 World Cup has now been postponed due to the COVID-19 worries. You can find out more about all these news stories on MediaMahima.com, Bridget. That's all we have for you on this morning's Good Morning Babe. We'll be back tonight, live at 5 on the Pam Pam Show. Till then, have yourselves a magnificent Monday.
अंबर पनाहे मांगे कर डाले तू जो फैसला